Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Small Business Stories. Woo-hoo-hoo. We are deep into season 6, and this is getting fun, right? Every week we bring you all kinds of entrepreneurs, small business owners who are tackling some of the thorniest problems and some of the weirdest business opportunities. You just be surprised, right? Keep listening to the show. Today, we have got the co-founder of Franzy, Alex Smereczniak, and I think I mispronounced his name. Alex Smereczniak. Are
There
we
you
better?
go.
Are we close?
Nailed it. You nailed it.
There we go. There we go. Apologies. Oh my goodness, you never want to get this wrong. But the cool thing is, he knows just about everything there is to know about franchising. He even has a podcast, How I Franchised This. So let's get into it. We're just going to call him Alex. Alex, welcome to the show.
Loralyn, thanks for having me. Yeah, it is a vastly fascinating world, franchising. I used to be a skeptic, like I think a lot of people are, and I thought, oh, it's McDonald's, it's Wendy's, you have to have a boatload of money to get into it or been born into it. And through my entrepreneurial journey, found my way into franchising and have become a lover of it. It is truly an accessible business model that spans home services, food, fitness, early childhood development. Honestly, there is a flavor for just about everyone, and I think that's what I like about it. But you really do need to know what you're looking for, know the risks, know the bad actors that might be out there that don't have the incentives that you do or the alignment that you do. And yeah, it's a fascinating business model, and franchising's definitely opened my eyes to different paths to wealth than I ever thought there could be.
Oh, and we're going to break all that down. I went into your site, of course, Franzy, and you can buy a franchise for 30,000, 40,000. Not to say that that's money we keep under the pillow and have readily accessible, but it's not the, hey, $1 million point of entry. And to your point about all kinds of things, I saw Patchett Roof Repairs, great name, all of this kind of stuff, home care, child care, all these kinds of things. So let's get into it. Let's just start up right up front. What are the risks a franchisee or prospective franchisee needs to know?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, like some people think franchising is mailbox money. It's an asset class. You invest $10 here and you get $12 out. And it just doesn't work that way. At the end of the day, you are buying a business. It is a major life decision, and there is a chance that whatever business you buy doesn't work out for a number of reasons. You picked the wrong brand. If it's a retail business, you built it in the wrong location, where traffic changed or some new development came in that blocked visibility to your location. It's a trend, and the macro environment changes and people's wallets get tighter, and you're a want and not a need. Another risk is you're a bad operator. You think that you're going to be amazing and figure it all out, but you just don't have the work ethic or the curiosity to go learn new things. Like there's all these things that could go wrong, and my big lesson is, like, you need to know that it's not this easy button and you print money after you hit it. It is still entrepreneurship and business ownership at its purest form, and all the risks that come with you doing this on your own. I wouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them still come with you. Franchising definitely de-risks it for you. And we can get into that if that makes sense as well.
We will, but first I want to just underscore
Yep.
headline, punch, exclamation, right? This is not, as you said, just hit the button and like, woo hoo hoo, bros and Lambos, great. All my people will go do these things and I'll just be printing money because it doesn't work that way. And I think that it's worth talking about that if you buy into a franchise and you are not up to snuff, right? Not meeting the standard, there are consequences. Let's talk about those. Let's get those out of the way.
Yep. Yeah. So when you buy into a franchise system, it is a marriage in a lot of ways. Like it's not like a typical brokering of of buying a house or a car or another, independent business. It's Alex and Loralyn are now going to be partners, Loralyn being the franchisor, let's say. And she has built all these systems and competitive advantages, menu innovation, supply chain efficiency, branding, all the stuff that I, as the franchisee, get to benefit from. And that's what I'm paying my royalty for, is all the hard work that Laurelyn's put into to get me there. But if I come in and I'm a bad partner, I'm not, following quality standards, I'm being vulgar online or something, and damaging the brand. Laurelyn has protections to remove me from the system. There's equitable ways to do that. where I can get recoup some of my initial investment, but there's ways that the brand can force me out if I'm not following standards, brand guidelines, and being a good advocate for the brand. And the analogy I use when I explain this to people, it's kind of like if you're part of an HOA, and there's rules within the HOA, like you can't open up an auto body shop in the neighborhood because it
Right.
might, diminish the value of the other homes, and there's, protections and stipulations and regulations there. Or maybe you can't paint your house hot pink because of the same thing. And so think of a franchise system as the same way as there are very clear, strict guidelines because they're trying to protect the overall system from bad operators, bad actors, all sorts of risks that could come with, a partnership in general.
But that's actually a good segue into some of the ways that buying into a franchise affords the new owner with some less risk, right? De-risking it because a brand name has been established, and we all know how hard that is because there are, oh, what, a billion Instagram accounts out there now, right? I think, or is it more than that now? Can't even keep track. So, yeah, that's a problem. How do you stand out in this sea of noise? And then you think about, oh, okay, so they've established not only the brand, but they've got a lot of the marketing materials. Ah, these are the messages that resonate with the audience. You, my dear new owner, simply have to use and apply the messages, the marketing, all the stuff we've created to the people that look or sound or buy these kinds of things in your zip code. And boom, it should work, right?
Right.
Right. The operative word being should, as we said in the beginning of the
Yeah.
podcast. You got to do some things. It's not instant or anything.
No, the big, you're right. The big advantages are, I tell people you're not starting on, zero or square one. You're starting on square three. You still got to get to 10. Let's say 10 is the goal. Like you still have work you need to do. There's no shortcuts, but the brand really levels you up quickly and then is there to support you on that journey from 3 to 10 in a very meaningful way. So all of the things from, like you said, brand building and recognition to very tangible financial value. Let's say Burger King or McDonald's as an example. Us on our own, we might be buying burger meat for, a couple dollars a pound. They have such vast buying power that they might be getting it for 20 cents a pound. And that alone covers the royalty that, the 6% that you're typically paying because your cost of goods are so much lower. And then the menu innovation or the technology they're building out or the partnerships on a national basis that they're forming with, if it's a home services business, maybe they've got national partnerships with all these big home builders so that when you open your next territory or your market in Charlotte, they're already connected with Ryan Homes and all these, builders to give you access to a huge customer base out of the gate. And so it's things like that that are both tangible and intangible that the brand provides. In a lot of ways, it's just not having to do it on your own. I think that's a lot of people fail or give up before they should have because they're alone and it's scary and it's hard. But having that network, that peer group of other franchisees that have been through what you're going through, that can pick you back up when you're having a tough weekend or a week and you're at home crying, like, why did I do this? They're there to pick you back up. And I think that alone is incredibly valuable.
Okay, I swear to my audience, I did not prime Alex for this, but that literally leads into my next question, which is one of the other advantages, because I deal with a lot of small businesses, micro businesses, nano, what do you call them? Solopreneurs, people say like nano micro businesses, whatever else. There's always some label on it, but basically businesses of one person. And what I'm seeing a lot of already here in 2026 is the increased financial pressure. Very difficult to get loans and things going right now. There's a lot of macroeconomic drivers that are squashing the smaller businesses because they just simply can't afford to do the marketing, compete, and be heard in a very, very noisy marketplace. So they're feeling those pressures. And for a lot of folks, there's just craziness going around in the world that is upsetting on a personal level. We're not going to get political on this, but even in the United States, a lot of people call it, well, what it is, right? A dumpster fire these days. And
Hmm.
so people are struggling. So, very long winded answer where I want to get to is How many franchises offer the opportunity where the new franchisee can become part of the club, part of the community? Hey, let's talk this week because, hey, it is going down. It's going south. Help me. What do I do? Is that part of the de-risking value that they get when they buy in?
Absolutely. There's a massive embedded peer group immediately. So let's say, yeah, it's a gutter cleaning franchise that you get into, and maybe you knew something about gutter cleaning, maybe you didn't. And honestly, a lot of people think they need to have this background before they do it. I look for kind of skill mapping. So if this person's very good at sales, I look for franchises to pair them with that have high ticket sales items like fencing or pool installation or roof replacement, those types of businesses, because it's a sales motion for the most part. Yes, you got to hire a team to go install the fence or repair the roof or do those things, but it's higher ticket sales. And so once you find that match, you're now into this group. And when you do have a hard time, that's when you can reach out to those other franchisees and say, hey, I'm doing this roof, cleaning franchise. I'm not sure what to do. This customer said X, I got there and it was Y. Do I need to price it differently? Do I need to call more crew in? Hey, I've noticed that on the weekdays in the fall, I'm not getting any business. Is that normal? Is there seasonality in your business that I should be aware of and plan for? So you immediately have this like mastermind group of other people that have been through it before you, that are going through it as well, as you. And a lot of the franchisors encourage franchisees to engage, interact with each other, and some go as far as having Slack channels or like email threads and different community forums for them to share best practices and things to avoid and lessons learned. And that just as a business owner in general, the shortcuts you can get by having good mentors or people that have been there before you and can tell you the pitfalls to look out for and avoid, you get that tenfold in a franchise system.
Which is helpful, sort of, as someone who read an ungodly amount of content, was involved in startups for a lot of decades. Like I said, the dinosaurs were still roaming the planet when I was walking around, but anyway, and learned a lot from that. But it was totally different being in the moment and setting up my startup. Like you had created a tech startup, and we're going to get into your tech in here just a sec. And I thought, well, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, oh my goodness, no, I would never do that. And then I did it. And I knew not to do whatever it was, like, oh, mortgage your house and then build it and then hope that they will come after. Things like that. But I did it anyway because you become so aligned and so convicted to your cause that you just more move forward and you think, well, it's not going to happen to me because I did all this other research. I did this and
Mhm.
I did that. And hey, this I've got green lights, right? And then you don't. Hmm.
Well, and that's one of the other ways I think franchising is de-risked too, is like there's all these stats that I read, and again, who knows which ones are, the most accurate, but I've seen enough that pool around these numbers of the 5 year success rate of a franchise business is around 75 to 80%, which is pretty good after 5 years these franchises are still existing, versus an independent business 5 years later is at 50%. So it's a coin toss, right? Like if you're going at it alone, 5 years from now, it's a coin toss whether you're going to be in business or not versus 75, 80% if it's into a franchise system. And I think that goes to say all of the, again, sense of community lessons that have been learned for you, because someone else had already built it out in front of you, has the network, has the systems, all the things we've mentioned. And that to me is worthwhile if I don't have my own immediate conviction or original idea that I'm unsure of, but I know I want to be a business owner. And that's what I've learned to love about franchising is it's made this thing that I'm very passionate about, business ownership, entrepreneurship, accessible to so many other people that might not want to go do the same path that I did.
And other groups have made all the mistakes for you. So you can
Yes.
come in at the point when they have already established success, like, oh, right. Hallelujah. Amazing stuff. Now, I want to come back to some of the comments you made about you're trying to make these matches with people. You look, oh, okay, do you have sales skills? Where are you? Is there seasonality? Is there this? Is that? Like, what are the commonalities with their backgrounds? And they don't even have to be fully experienced in that industry, that lane that they're buying in. You've developed a tech platform with AI that helps to find these matches. What can you share about that experience building that?
Yeah, so the origin story was before. So the business I'm working on now is called Franzy, and think of us as the Zillow-like platform for helping people, do research and then identify and eventually buy, the right franchise fit for them. Just like you'd look at houses on Zillow to see what area code or zip codes do I want to be in, what school districts, how many bedrooms, cost, et cetera. All this stuff. We've done the same thing for franchise business buying. Um, the origin, though, is prior to Franzy, I had started this laundry and dry cleaning pickup and delivery business called 2U Laundry. And this was around the time we were seeing all of the Uber for X businesses pop up, Instacart, Shipt, Wag, Rover, and we were along that wave. Over 8 years, we raised 33 million in venture capital, launched 18 different markets, started building physical laundromats in 2018, and then started franchising those laundromats in 2021. And that's where I got, before that, I was a franchise hater. I'm a skeptic. I'm not sure. Are those really entrepreneurs? And that's where I got into that world of, oh, this is a business model. It's not an industry. It is a way to get into all these other, worlds. If you don't have this immediate, again, original idea or this thing that you just have to go do on your own, if you really want to get into it with a peer group and with all these systems that we've talked about, it's actually a really good way to do it. But the way people are identifying these opportunities is broken. There's brokers that are taking 60% commissions. There's hard to get into these, good brands. They're not accessible. You're not sure what pitfalls to look out for. There's some good educational information out there, but not a lot. And that's where the idea for Franzy came was how do we democratize access to business ownership via franchising in a way that gives you all the data, shows all 4,000 plus brands that are out there, has aligned coaching and incentives, or someone who's there to genuinely help you versus making a ton of money on the back end without you knowing about it. Like I wanted to eliminate all that, clean it up, and give people a fair shake at being an entrepreneur.
I want to come back to the 33 million. You said it so casually. Yeah, yeah, we raised, I don't know, 33 million. It was kind of like, yeah, we asked a few people for what they had in their pockets and we went forward with it, right? Oh, let's dig in there a little deeper, Alex. That's not a small number. Talk to us about what that experience is like, because we have a lot of people in our listener base who are primarily at the angel level, but many of them are getting ready for that Series A and getting ready for their venture capital. And I'm sure we have some folks in Series B, but I haven't had that specifically come forward yet with someone in my audience saying, hey, I'm going for my Series B. What do you think? Haven't heard that yet. But we have a lot of investors on the show in the past. So talk to us. What was that all about? And what advice can you give to people who are looking to raise capital these days?
Yeah, so that business was a act two from a college business that I did. I went to Wake Forest. I did a college laundry business, while I was there, ran it, grew it, sold it, and I was hooked on entrepreneurship at that point. That was my first like deep dive, really getting into being an entrepreneur. And I was hooked. I went and worked for Ernst and Young after college for a year and a half, and hated it. I loved the people I worked with, but the work itself, I was like, I want to go solve problems really fast. And like that dirty laundry business was way more fun and fulfilling to me than, helping these Fortune 100 clients. Like I felt like I was, a cog in a wheel versus this felt like competitive sport and it was moving quick and it was mine and there was ownership and consequences for the bad decisions and huge rewards for the good decisions and I loved the stakes I guess on both ends. And so we started 2U Laundry when we saw all the Uber for X things taking off and we thought someone's going to do this for laundry and dry cleaning. And so we started out five guys living in a three-bedroom apartment, mattresses on the ground, trying to just not eat into our savings and burn through much money because we weren't paying ourselves anything. And we raised our first round of capital, 400K, about 8 months into launching the business. We'd bootstrapped it to 30 grand a month in revenue on our own, just going to apartment buildings and giving out free service and driving Uber and telling our Uber, clients, hey, you should check out this laundry thing that I'm working on and be a customer because a lot of bankers and consultants took our Uber rides in the morning to the office. And so that first 400K was our crash course into how do you raise venture and how do you negotiate a term sheet and how do you approach it? And then that accelerated into a seed round of 2.5 million, and then a Series A of 8 million, and then a Series B of 20 million. And it just, you learn so much along the way. And a lot of it is surrounding yourself by, with people that are a year or two, from where you want to be. They were just in it. What can you learn from them? And so for those listening that are, raising capital or are thinking about how to do that, one, I would read the book Venture Deals by Brad Feld. He talks about raising money from both the founder's perspective, the investor's perspective, but also the attorney's perspective, which sounds like it might be boring, but it's very helpful to understand all the terms. And then raising money is this game of, kind of creating scarcity and FOMO and, instilling confidence and storytelling a little bit. You have to, tell a story where people are going to really believe in you and the mission and what you're going after. And then creating almost this like FOMO or scarcity that they're missing out on the next big thing. So tons of lessons I learned and tons of detail I could go into, but wanted to stop there and make sure I hit the highlights.
One of the things that I hear that's a little bit juxtaposed is you really want to be able to help businesses because you like that maximum rewards, right? Like high table stakes kind of thing, that intensity, all of that, right? Oh, speed, all of that sort of good stuff. But you're also offering franchises, which is a little bit different on that side. It seems like you're covering both ends. Is there a side that you prefer? It seems like this one.
So for me as an individual, and this is something I tell our clients that we help at Franzy, is everyone's unique. I mean, I think humans, as much as we have in common and are similar, we're also very unique individuals. And my risk tolerance or what makes me fulfilled and happy is can be very different than, you know, Dan's or Chris's or Laurelyn's or whoever's. And so for me personally, I like the high stakes, shoot for the stars, raise venture capital, 90+% chance of failure. We're going to be one of the 10, 1 out of 10 that make it all the way. I love that, and that might change as I get older, my family gets bigger. Um, but for now, like I love the high stakes, high energy. But there's a lot of people that they just aren't fulfilled by their W-2, or they've done some real estate investing and they've made some money, but they haven't operated a more operationally intensive business, and they've got a desire to learn about that and do that. And that's to me where franchising is so accessible and gives you that high of being an owner and problem solving and building things without the full complete risk of it being a 90+% chance of failing like a traditional startup does. So I actually do blend both. I own some franchises in Minnesota. I'm a capital partner in those. I help with site selection, bookkeeping, finance related things, some strategy work. But I have an operating partner in the state who operates, the day to day with the team there and on the ground. So I get a taste of both. I get to be involved in both, and I could see myself in life shifting more to that side as I get, more kind of stable and wanting a little bit more balance because startups, venture-backed startups, it is a all or nothing, all in, blood, sweat, and tears, force this thing to work mentality.
You use the word balance. Does it exist?
No, I think harmony can maybe exist, but balance, no. And I know that might sound contradictory, but to me, harmony is like how do you get other parts of your life to coexist together instead of choosing one or the other. So having your family come to work on work trips with you, or have friends that are also in entrepreneurship so that when you're hanging out with them, it's also a little bit of that kind of business high and addiction that you have, but you're also talking to friends and being social as well. And can you go work out with I know some people go like on business meeting walks. It's like can you like, you have to find these types of overlaps to make it all work.
Absolutely. I've done several of those myself. Nothing in the gym, nobody wants to see that, but definitely out and walking or skiing, that kind of thing. Did some golf, but no one really wants to do that with me because I just want to watch the bunnies and then I end up just giving up and throwing my clubs into the swamp. I'm like, I give up. Like I just it's not a game for me. But I'm in those like fast, high speed, intense games, racquetball, pickleball. Yeah. That's what I like. That kind of stuff. So with franchising, what's going on right now with respect to what's hot, what's not?
Yeah, so franchising, and this is something that I've been, preaching about a little bit, is people say it's like it's an industry, and I think that's wrong. I mean, I still sometimes say it myself because people are just used to speaking about franchising as an industry. To me, it's a business model that spans multiple industries, right? So it's in food and health and wellness and senior care and fitness and early childhood development. Those are all industries, though franchising is just an option. It's a business model within those industries. And the reason I'm harping on that is that franchising every year might be very up in one of those industries because those industries are up, and that's, that is those industries or sectors are riding some sort of macro tailwind or trend, and then others are down. It doesn't mean franchising is up or down, though. It's just the models that it operates within, or the sectors and industries that it operates within are up or down. And so I look at this like I would any small business, whether it's franchising or not. And so senior care, as an example, senior care franchises are doing really well because you have this, aging population. There's more demand than there is supply for in-home care, for facility-based care. To the point there's even franchises that broker care of helping you place a loved one, a mom, a dad, a grandparent into a home. They're like a broker. They help you find the right facilities and negotiate the rates. And they do really well. It's a high ticket sales business essentially. And you can get into it for relatively cheap and have all the tools and systems and relationships you need. And boom, you're now helping this, riding this wave of the aging population looking for some sort of care. I like senior care a lot right now. Um, a lot of people are always asking us about passive. I want to keep my W-2, but I want to, run a side hustle. And 9 times out of 10, I tell people it's not possible. There are a few franchises that this is possible. There's, these golf simulators right now. While I think it's becoming saturated, that's some of the franchises that I own in Minnesota. There's no employees. It's like an anytime fitness where you fob into the door, and then you have this private golf simulator that you can play with friends, business meetings, family members. It's 24/7. There's no employees. So like that one is much more passive than your Jersey Mike's or your McDonald's that has 40 employees. So I like some of those passive options for people. Home services in general, I really like. I think even in tougher times, there's certain things around the home that people just can't cut and don't want to cut, and want to keep that kind of peace of mind. And they're much more accessible as well. You don't need the $3 million to open a McDonald's to open a artificial turf business or a power washing business. You need a truck and some equipment, and you're off to the races and can actually generate, 500,000, million plus in revenue off of low overhead.
See, that's the key. And then this whole passive income thing, oh my goodness, that is a trigger phrase for me. Why? Because as a mentor, and I mentor a lot of folks in small businesses, and the older, more seasoned mentors, they get it. Hey, I've lost my
Mhm.
job. I've got to do this. I can't do both in family and right. Like they get the wheel and they've got to get out of the hamster wheel. And like you said, try to find a way to coexist with all of the axes of chaos in and around them, right, to move forward and stay dialed enough into their business where it doesn't tank. But this whole passive income, when I mentor young college students, or in some cases, I've had some high school students, really early risers embracing entrepreneurship. And they're like, yeah, I'm just doing it for the passive income. Like, oh my God, you've been sold a bill of goods, honey. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't, right?
No,
No.
there's no like any, and some content creators I get kind of, I think give me like a bad taste at times because they'll talk about all the get rich quick stuff and mailbox money. And I think over time in almost any industry, real estate, franchising, entrepreneurship, there becomes a point where it can become passive, but you have to earn that right for it to become passive. It is not given. It is not, oh, well, if you just take my course or listen to enough of my content, you're gonna be rich in 6 months. And it's just like that always doesn't sit well with me. And so when I come on podcasts or if on our own show, I'm trying to like counteract that a little bit and tell the truth of how this really has to go down. It's like there's no shortcut unless you inherited a bunch of money or won the lottery outside of those things. Like you're gonna have to work for it one way or another. Um, it's just what kind of work do you want to do and what fills you up and doesn't feel like work. I remember being told this in high school and I thought it was uh, yeah, BS, I guess, for lack of a better word. But it was if you find something you love, you never work a day in your life. And I was that's someone's just saying that. That's not true. And I am sitting here now at 34, and thankfully I found it when I was 24. I loved building things, and it doesn't feel like work. I like to work on the weekends. I like to, work late. It doesn't feel like work anymore. And I think there is a version of that that exists for most people. They just need to find that thing. And when you find that thing, who cares if there's a shortcut, a long cut, or whatever? You'll eventually be at a spot where you're like, oh my gosh, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even I didn't ever imagine this for myself. And now it can become passive because you've built this thing so big that it can exist without you.
Oh, there it is. And that's the whole thing. Hashtag viral. I lose my mind. People say, like, yeah, I'm just going to add that as one of my hashtags to my videos. Like, no, that's not going to improve your visibility. It's just not, right? It's going to, the algorithm's going to look at it and go, ixnay and bury you. So don't do that.
hmm
All right.
hmm
As we're getting toward the end of our show here, Alex, where and how can people find you? Where can they hear about your podcast? How I franchise this? Talk to us.
Yeah, so I'm on every like social account, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and it's Alex from Franzy most of the time. On LinkedIn, where we put a lot of longer form content out. It's just my name, Alex Smereczniak. And then we do have a podcast once a week on Thursdays. We release episodes of people that started somewhere. It could have been in corporate. It could have been they were young and they borrowed money from friends and family early. It could have been they are commercial real estate, whatever background it may be. Some are athletes. We have, athletes that come on, but they were something else before. And now they're entrepreneurs through franchising. And we talk about their journey, how they did it. How did they find the right brand? What would they have done differently? How did they finance it? How could they afford it? How, do they operate it? Are they still in the business? Or are they on the business? So just lots of practical tips on, how you can actually do this. That's another thing that I like to stress in my content is education. And some of it's entertaining, but a lot of how do I actually go and do this? Enough of this like, oh yeah, get rich quick and whatever. It's like here we're gonna lay out the roadmap, and if you decide to go down that path, great. You got the tools and the resources to do it now. And if not, hopefully you learn something.
Excellent. And that's why we have this podcast, right? Don't do as I do. Do as I say and do as my guests say, right? Because they're really well informed and there's always some great advice. Alex, last question, signature question for the show. If we got to peek into your closet and there was a pair of footwear, or maybe it's some clothing or accessories that personifies who you are, Alex Mersnack from Franzy, what are we looking at?
Interesting. I might actually do this. I'm going to show this. This is my grandfather's ring. Where is
Pull it back a bit. I did
there we
notice
go.
the sparkling earlier. I'm a glitter
I
girl, and I
don't,
was like, "Oh,
I
what's
don't know if
that
you
on your finger? That's a lovely ring."
yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Is it showing up a little bit?
You
It's
got to
kind of
put it on your
focused on
forehead
me.
so you can see it.
But
Then that's
yeah.
how it works. Yeah, that's because then the camera tracks it the right way. Yeah, yeah, beautiful. So it's
I
your
would say
grandfather's.
it's my grandfather's ring, and he grew up on a farm in Minnesota. One of I think it was six other siblings, and grew up kind of poor. And he had always had this thing of like, once I make it off the farm, he went to the University of Minnesota, eventually got into financial advising and working with other business owners. But his thing was once I kind of make it in life, I want to buy myself something nice. And he had this ring designed. He passed away 20 some years ago, but my grandmother gave it to me as like, hey, this kind of embodies our family's entrepreneurial spirit, and you're kind of taking that torch. And so I look at it every day, and I just think about all the hard work that he did to set our family up for the future that it could have, and the hard work that he put in, and a reminder of myself to be humble and continue to do the hard work to get to where you want to be.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful to have that story and just that legacy. And as I say, we are, right, the carriers. Everything that's happened in our history, our family history, we can bring it forward. It's all a matter of what we choose to do with it. So, with that, folks, this is a wrap. Small business stories. Again, thank you, Alex Merznak from Franzy. Anybody interested in franchising, you know where to go. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks for having me. It was a good one.
There we go.